Hello everyone, it's compound interest again today. It's going down in value and it's number, and this is a great one. So make sure you've done compound interest without having a calculator, compound interest going up in value, and now we're going to go down in value. But do not worry, it is super easy, and if you have done well on the other two, you're going to do well on this one as well. But we'll go over what compound interest is. You already know it if you've done those other ones. But compound interest means that each time interest is paid into an amount saved or owed, the added interest also received interest from then on. Okay, so let's look at an example where things go down in value. So, Mr. Warren buys a computer. It's worth £5,000. Amazing. It's the best computer I've ever bought. Each year it devalues by 30%, and we know that computers and technology in general devalues quite quickly. Calculate the value of the computer after 2 years. So remember the formula we used before. It was the initial timesing by the multiplier to the power of time. It's exactly the same, but remember our starting point was 100%. It's going down in value by 30%, so we don't have 100% anymore. So let's go over that. So we've got our calculator. Remember the key bit here. The key button to use is this one. So make sure you know where that is on your calculator. But let's write down our initial. Our initial is £5,000. Timesing by, now our multiplier is 30%. So if I've got 100% and it's going to devalue by 30%, I'm going to end up with 70%. So I need to write that down as 0.7. Our time is 2 years. So there we go. Does that make sense, everyone? We're just going to pause for a little bit. I start with 100%, which is 1. I take away my 30%, which will give me 0.7. It'll give me 0.7. So if I put that into my calculator, I put in 5,000 timesing by 0.7 to the power of 2, I will end up with 2,450. Now, I didn't do this on the last one, but we should put it in its format, which is in pounds, so 2,450 below. Hopefully we can see what we're going to do. Now, I'm going to do one more with you, but please pause this, write all this down, come back when you've done that. You need a really good example. Definitely the only real change is this bit here, isn't it? Okay, from last one. Example number 2. Oh, I like my cars, everyone. Mr. Warren buys a car for £40,000 and each year it devalues by 10%. Now, in the last video, they made money because they were classic cars. And as a car gets really old and more desirable and there's less of them on the road, they go up in value. But our traditional car goes down in value. And this one's going to go down in value by 10%. Calculate the total amount Mr. Warren's car will be worth after 5 years. So let's write out that initial timesing by the multiplier to the power of time. We've got our calculator, little remembering, we need to know where that button is. And we're going to put it in. Our initial is 40,000. Our multiplier, it's devaluing by 10%. Starting at 100%, taking away 10% from that, we're going to end up with 90%. So hopefully you've written 0.9 or 0.9. To the power of 5 because it's over 5 years. Put that into our calculator. Just a little reminder, we're going to go 40,000 timesing by 0.9. Press that button, put 5 in it, equals. And we're going to get £23,619.60 and write that in its correct format underneath. I'm now going to turn it over to you before we go to the quiz. So this next one is purely for you. I'm not going to bring up the formula. It's all up to you. But let's go over the question first. Mr. Warren buys a new iPhone worth $1,000. But Mr. Warren must be loaded. Each year it devalues by 50%. Calculate the value of the iPhone after 2 years. Now, don't do what you think you're going to do and just write an answer. Go through the process. You might be surprised what your answer you get. Pause the video, give the whole thing a go, come back and see if you're correct. it is time to go over. So first things first, what is the formula? Initial. What's the initial? £1,000. Timesing by the multiplier. What's the multiplier? 50%. I have 100%. I take away 50%. I'm left with 50%. So it's 0.5. What time? It's 2. So let's put all of that down now. I've got 1,000 timesing by my multiplier, which is 0.05. 0.5, sorry, not 0.5, not 0.05. That would be horrific. But you can see it there. Time being to the power of 2, and that equals £250. Now, some years might have gone, but it's lost 50% each year. That means over 2 years it's going to lose 100%. This is a great example of compound interest. So remember, in year 1, it's going to lose 50% of its value. So you're going to end up with £500. But now you got £500. In year 2, it's going to lose 50% of that value. So 50% of £500 is worth £250. So you've got £250 left. Okay, excellent. So we need to put that down in its correct format, which is £250. There. It is now time for the quiz. I know you guys, girls, have been looking forward to the quiz all day. So without further ado, here we go. 2 questions for you. A computer question, and this is actually very similar to my car at the moment. There you go. It's a bit cooler than my car, actually, to be fair. Over to you. Come back and see if you've got it correct. Time to go over the answers, everyone. And there we go. Mr. Warren buys a computer worth £1,000. Each year it devalues by 30%. So we can see here we've got £1,000 timesing by 100%, take away 30% gives me 70%, so 0.7. To the power of 4 gives me £240 and 10p. Put that underneath. Mr. Warren buys a car, 26,000, timesing by 0.9 or 0.9 to the power of 5, and we get our answer there at 15,352.74, and that's our answer there. I am absolutely positive that you've done incredibly well today. If you'd like some electronic copies of these cards, please get in contact with me via the comments section below. As always, it's been a real pleasure. If you don't want electronic copies, that's fine. You can make your own cards, and I highly recommend making your own cards. You can't beat making your own cards as long as you do a good job. As always, it's been a real pleasure helping you with your maths today. I thoroughly enjoy helping you. Hopefully you thoroughly enjoy these videos.